Hi Charlie, really great to meet up with you and start doing some work on your game. Fairly simple first lesson. Quite a inconsistent strike with sort of the mid to short irons, and all we were really looking to do was try and improve where the club hit the ground. That was pretty much the whole session, understanding where the club needs to hit the ground and how it's going to do it. Now if we just look at the one on the left here, we'll just have a look. I mean, this was, I believe, an 8 iron. And one thing I just want to point out here, if you look at the ball in relation to your left shoulder, I just want you to notice how close it is to your left shoulder. Now I hear people asking about, ball position in regards to your feet, and it's very difficult to get right in that respect because everybody has a different width of stance. So some people are quite wide. Now, to someone who has a very wide stance, this ball position might look fairly central. For someone who's got a very narrow stance, it might look very far forward. You really want to be looking in regards to your left shoulder. So as you can see there, it's not very far forward. Sorry, a bit too far forward. And what that's then likely to do is encourage you to hit the ball while the club's working its way back up. If you actually have a look at the shaft as it is there, the club's likely to be working in this way, as it is now. Now, if we actually just get rid of these guys. Now, if we start this swing back, like I say, in regards to the shaft, I'd expect to see the club working in this sort of fashion as it gets back to the ball. Now, as we talked about on Wednesday, the club needs to be working down as it gets into impact. So that'll give you more solid contact, you have more chance of hitting the golf ball first. And as we found out, your main problem was hitting the ground behind the ball too much, or sometimes not hitting the ground at all. Now if I just start this back, you notice the first thing that happens is the handle gets dragged back. All that's doing now is encouraging you to hit more like this. So as you can see, even further on the way up. So the club's going to be working down into about here, and then starting to work back up again too soon. So that was really the issue that we really needed to work on. If we just continue this back, so you see there, the handle's being dragged back even further before the club's actually left the ground. Quite a wide takeaway, like good stroke. I mean, you mentioned that you were worried that your left arm was bending too soon. In regards to the backswing, that's not really an issue at all. I would like to see a little bit more wrist hinge, but that needs to be coming in earlier. But we'll work on that another time. And then what tended to happen here now is there wasn't really enough drive forward. It was just a turn from the top of the backswing. So you're always behind the ball slightly. And if we just get into impact, your low point was there, inch or two behind the ball. Now as we actually made contact with the ball, you can see that the handle's back, encouraging you to be hitting this way. And I actually remember this one. This wasn't one of your better strikes. You can see there, a little bit heavy. Golf ball's not really taking off with any sort of, any zip, no real power. Now, because you're always behind the ball as well, if you watch what happens to your arms now, is that they start to separate. That's you trying not to hit the ground. Obviously, sometimes it just doesn't quite work. So, like I said, a very simple sort of session today. I actually have to apologise for my camera work. I actually missed the setup of this one. If I just take it back to this part here, okay, so that's roughly where the club starts moving away. So that's, the hands are level with the inside of your right thigh. Now, if we actually have a look at this one here, what we were actually trying to do was feel as though the hands were further forward at setup, which would encourage a forward shaft lean and a downward angle of attack, and also having your weight slightly forward at setup. Now if I just start taking this one back here, where the hands are roughly in the same position. Early on in the session, handles back at this point already, whereas this one, shaft leaning forward. That's always a good start. Now if we just, in terms of the actual two swings, there wasn't actually a lot of difference. If you have a look, ball position, touch further back, so a bit further back from your left shoulder. Whereas on this one, you can see not very far back at all. So there we really wanted one or two of your main issues. Now if we just continue this one back, you feel, because you were starting your swing, sorry about that, so as you got to the top of your backswings, to feel as though you were going to try and punch it forward. So you were trying to think, almost trying to feel like you were going to drill it as low as you could. And if we just get to the top of the two backswings, one thing I will notice is the one on the right hand side, your weight's definitely starting to move towards the target a bit quicker. You can see that your upper body's not leaning away from the target as much, which I like. That you're more likely to hit down on the ball there. So if we start down now, get into impact, you can definitely see shaft leaning forward a touch. Not a lot, maybe not as much as we'd like to see in the long run, but definitely an improvement on this. To see the two different positions there. Now this shaft lean, as we know, is encouraging you to hit this way, whereas this one ever so slightly on the way down. So the one on the right is going to lead to more consistent strikes, a bit more power, and with any luck you should start to see quite a considerable gain in your scores straight away, or reduction in your scores, shall I say. So, just a quick recap: set up, weight forward slightly, handle forward as well, giving you that shaft lean at the start, and then from the top of your backswing you were feeling as though you were going to try and punch the ball forward, so you're trying to hit the ground in front of the ball, give you a bit of forward shaft lean and a bit of a better strike. Look forward to seeing you soon. If you've any questions, give me a call. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.